too. It comes with these little the fuzzy windbreaker ones. Yep. So pretty neat. Pretty neat. So look at that. That's $2.99. Check this out. The other ones were $2.79. This is only a $20 difference. So why bother with the other one? So I'll take those back. These look $2.79.
Ryan and Justin and drag their butts over.
Ryan's
Compared
flying
to
jet
$2.99.
airplanes, buddy. You ain't gonna see him for a while. Of
For
course, he
three
could
of
get here very quickly if you want.
Yeah, you can pick up your brother.
$20 difference. So
Yeah.
that's just dumb. It's just dumb to get the old ones. With a $20 difference in price. Plus, that's the disadvantage of the ones that we're using right now is you can't change the volume. Yeah, on the fly. Or you can't bump them up or bump them down. Oh. See, we're already using the computer now. Yeah.
So convenient. I think you can do where you snap it, right? Snap it to like half the screen.
Do we have this?
Or like it's, I don't know the shortcut there. I think you've seen it.
Full screen.
Full screen will take up the whole screen.
Yeah.
I can drive someone.
There we go.
Oh, there's my list.
There's your list, brother. Now you can come over here and you can look at the list. Exactly what we want. Now, why did that do that?
Window, window.
Window.
File window left.
Now, if I want to open up something else there, it just goes away, though.
No, open up Safari before you do that.
Funny.
Open Safari.
I know. It's just
Move that to the right side. And then click on that.
so. Your text.
Yeah? Okay, so we turn off the lights when it's
Your tech ultra lights. This is what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at right there.
Ooh, Steve will pay for it, and Jimmy.
Oh, stop.
What's that, man?
Production headset.
We got. Where's your Apple money? The mall was busy. That bill there in the mall was packed out. I thought
That mall is gonna die. With no Best Buy.
That's right. Yeah, April.
Apple's gonna have to open up their own independent store somewhere.
Yeah, I thought there was like
You know.
customers.
They have them.
I think Apple might go out of business.
Fountains.
Why was? I was there yesterday.
In other parts like Nevada, you go to like.
I was at the mall with my friend yesterday, and we went past the Apple store. It's almost empty.
Mm-hmm.
Build-A-Bear had people all the way down.
Oh my god.
Just for animals?
For the mall, because the mall is.
I thought it was for like phones.
Yeah, but I don't think it's not for long. If they have to choose between they have their own or their here's the sixth largest mall in Northeast. The mall. Man, that's why I pulled out. Make sure you tell you. And it's a light. Pulled out already.
Alright, who else is on?
So, alright, so here.
Best Buy, I think, this other
Alright,
one's
Dave,
going out.
can I play with some audio? Once
Well,
this
well,
part
this
starts,
is
I'd love
here.
to- Here we go.
Your overhead one. That's small.
What?
Okay, Chris?
I'm ready. I'm born ready, brother.
I mean, are you ready for the lights?
No, we're not doing the lights until Kylie is done, and then we're going low.
Okay.
All right. Once Kylie is done talking, we're going low.
Okay.
Ben, did we bring that brightness down on that one phone or no?
Yeah, it's done.
Good morning, Fort Point. How you doing?
Yeah, when she's done
Nice
talking.
to have you here this morning. Welcome, whether you're joining us
talking, we're
online
going
or
low.
whether you're here with us in
done.
person. I want to see if you guys can fill in the blank here. Oh, first, my name's Kylia, and I'm on purpose here at Fort Point. Okay, now we're going to fill in the blank. So, at Fort Point, we're a community of faith, hope, and love, helping people find their
Purpose!
Okay, good. I'm glad.
And life.
We believe you were born on purpose for a purpose, and we want to
And
be
the
a part of that
afterlife.
story any way we can. If you are new to Fort Point, we want to get in touch with you. We want to bring you into this community.
That's what it's
As
all on
our
now. I didn't know
church
what she was
has hopped
doing.
from building to building before it's gotten here, the family of Fort Point has hopped from building to building, and we want to be with you throughout your life, struggles, joys. So we want you to join in this community. We love you. Text welcome to the number on the screen, 315-883-2213. Also, if you're watching online, you can find us at fortpoint.online.church, and we'd love if you would join us over there. There's a button there that says connect. You can get in touch with us there as well. Also, while you're online, maybe you're watching us on our Facebook page or our YouTube, but we would love if you would share and like our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. You can find us at Fort Point. Also, we have. He just told me not to say also. But here we go. You're welcome. We always have kids activities in the back. I'm going to say also again. We finally have our information for our life groups. The Skinner one is going on right now. That is at 7. Is it 7 or is it 6? Your life group. 7, and that's on Wednesdays. We have another one that's starting up. That's at 7 on Wednesdays as well. That's with the Doyles. And
We still doing
if
in?
you have kids, that might
We're
be
still
another
on the
option.
in series?
They are going to have kids activities over there. So you can try both. You can see which one fits. The Doyles are going to do like a little get to know you to start, and then they're going to jump right into whatever program you're doing. Try them out, see what you like. If you need more information on those, you might have to write these down. But text life group to 315-530-8945. And I can say that again if you want to put it on your phone. It's 315-530-8945. And text life group to that number to get more information. You can also find more information at the Welcome Center and on our website. We also, if you are, there you go. I should count. Pretty times I say also. We're doing prayer cards. So if you have anything you want to have prayed for you, I'm saying and also we should count things. Put your name on there. They're over at this box, our giving box, and at the Welcome Center. And there's an option if you'd like someone to get in touch with you to call you and pray with you over the phone. We can do that for you. If you came prepared to give this morning, there are 3 different ways you can do that. You can give in person through the box in the back. You can go online to fortpoint.org/give, or you can text any amount to the number 84321. Now we'll continue with our gathering. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elijah if there's anything that he can do. Just ask the stone that was rolled at the tomb in the garden what happens when God says to move. I feel him moving now. I feel him doing it now. I feel him doing it now. Doing now. Doing now.
the king of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, he is my song. Let the king of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, he is my song. You are good, good. Oh, you are good, good. Oh, you are good. assure you of that. Thank you, Father. We're going to sing a new song for you today that we have never sang before. It's called Nothing Else. It was written by Cody Carnes, and as we just settle into worship here this morning, just remember that our God is enough. There's nothing more that we need as we walk through this crazy life from day to day. We just get caught up in Him. Thank you, Father. I'm caught up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry when I just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. I'm caught up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I just want you. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. Lord, I just ask that you touch everybody that has made the choice to walk in here today. Just fill them with your spirit, Lord. Fill them with your love, your grace. There is nothing more that we need, God, than you. And I will continue to seek you. I know that you're here, Lord, but I will seek you with all of my heart for all of my days. For all that you have done for me, Lord, and all that you will continue to do. You know, find your peace in him. Yes, Father. And let the grace that has been shown to us, may you just walk forward. Carry his light with you. We're caught up in your presence, God. Just be blessed by him. Yes, Father. Nothing else will do. Thank you, Father. I'm just going to sing the chorus one more time. I'm caught up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you.
Here this morning, a little chilly this morning, but I'm glad to break the sub-zero temperatures to be with us this morning. Just so you know, to try to take the edge off of the coldness, we had to come in the day before just to turn on the heat on. So the heat's been on since last night just to try to make it bearable. You're still in your jackets, but at least it's bearable this morning. So we're grateful for the heat, even though it takes. Maybe we should start turning it on Friday. This week has been fun for the Doyles because my wife just started going back into school for the first time here in the city school districts. They're back doing, the hybrids, some virtual, some in person, but the teachers are in person all the time. So my wife
went back to work, and it was our first week since, our December kind of quarantined and into the beginning of January, where we haven't all been in the same house for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But she got to leave, so it left me home with all the kiddos, right? So first thing in the morning until the wifey comes home at around 4:30, I'm there with all the kids, and the 4 girls don't seem to be interested in the same kind of things that I'm interested in, so I'm a little disappointed in that. And you can't judge me as a dad, because sometimes our littlest, Litly, she's 2 years old. Sometimes it's nice to give her an iPad and just let her sit in the living room and not hear from her for a couple hours, okay? I'll admit, I may have done that once or twice a day to be able to find some peace and help the others with their schoolwork and try to fit in an email here or there, things I need to get done myself. And it's the strangest thing, one of the times, if I don't hear her voice after too long, I grow a little suspicious, like something can't be right. So I go into the TV room where she's sitting on the couch, and she's, content there, staring at the iPad. And I walk over expecting to find her watching some kind of Disney movie, right? Anna, Elsa, or Ariel, or Moana, right? Some kind of Disney movie, or maybe some kind of YouTube crazy kid thing like the Shark song, right? They listen to the Shark song on repeat. And I go over, and she's watching some kind of video log of this family that's like out in California, right? And it's just this family doing life, the normal vacation stuff, the normal around the house stuff, but it's just a family. And I look, and I'm thinking, what is going on with this, where my 2-year-old daughter is captivated by, how boring must our life be, where she's got to watch this other family kind of live life through YouTube. And this family gets paid money to make these videos because they have so many subscribers. And I think, man, what's going on with the world where, we can pay people just to record their lives, and we just sit back and watch them. We would call that probably influencers. Anybody familiar with the term influencer nowadays? Yeah, influencer is kind of this idea where they're able to kind of sway our purchasing habits based on their expertise in a subject, or based on the relationship we have with them now that we're kind of, stuck on their YouTube channel and we're subscribed to it, so we watch it all the time. And it's quite an amazing fact when you think about YouTube is really only about 15, 16 years old. The first YouTube video came out February 14th of 2005, and now it's currently the second most visited site on the internet. So there's some 37% of all internet traffic is on YouTube. And there is about 500 hours of video that's added to YouTube every minute. And out of that, we kind of give ourselves over to allow these influencers to make money based on our watching habits. And it's probably all of our realities, right? Who's ever kind of wanted to learn how to do something and decide, what am I going to do? I'm going to Google it. Also, right, a YouTube, all part of the family there. And I'm going to look for a video to show me how to do it. Like about a month ago, my elliptical machine broke, and I've been waiting for this part to come in, and the part finally came in, and this is all I got. A box with a part in it, right? And I'm thinking, I paid people to come in and put this together. How in the world am I supposed to know how this part goes on my machine? So what's the first thing that comes to mind is I YouTube it, and I look for, YouTube my particular type machine and how to replace this part, and there is a video that walks me through step by step how to fix it. And I wish I could tell you that even with the video, I was able to accomplish the task and fix my elliptical, but I'm stuck on these 2 bolts that I can't get off that are on there. So if any of you appear to be stronger than me, if you want to come over afterwards, I will feed you lunch. If you can get these bolts off so I can replace this belt, right? But being an influencer, it's so much bigger than just going viral, right? Anybody can kind of have a one-hit wonder video or picture where you set it and everybody watches it and it gets shared millions of times. But being an influencer, we're talking about someone who has this consistent audience, this consistent platform. Because anybody can go out and take a picture and make it look funny. Anybody can cause a stir by the pictures that they put up. I think I have a picture here of somebody doing something funny. Oh, there he is. Somebody found a way to, if you're familiar with Skinner Properties there, somebody vandalized one of the signs there with some
some googly eyes, right? Yeah, somebody thought it was funny? Yeah, I thought it was so funny, I said, I don't know if the person who made this wants me to rat them out. I don't know if you know who it is yet. But I said, you got to make a whole Instagram channel just on googly eye, funny googly eye pictures, right? Like it's more than just a one picture thing. Anybody can make a picture that's funny. Like right now, it's the Bernie Sanders meme, right? Anybody can go out and put Bernie Sanders in their picture, right? Somebody should tell Bernie that it's, he didn't get the memo about Sunday Fun Day there. He's looking a little not so happy, right? But being an influencer is so much more than a viral picture. I've mentioned this guy many times, and I'll mention him again today. Anyone ever heard of Ryan's World? Yeah, Ryan's World. Ryan's World has some 24.7 million subscribers. Okay, he's a little 8, 9, 10-year-old kid just filming himself, opening up videos, filming himself doing crazy experiments. Do you know how much money Ryan made this last year? Ryan made $29.5 million this last year. He's the #1 watched and paid YouTube influencer that is. His family's kind of in a little bit of trouble right now with the law because they haven't been disclosing the fact that people are paying him to be able to unbox or to go through playing with toys. And this is kind of the reality that we live in, is that influencers now are being paid to promote certain things as a part of their channel. And if they don't disclose that they're being paid, then there's this kind of thin line of that's having to be dealt with, right? Ryan would be considered an influencer. Probably not for me, and probably not for you if you're an adult here. But if you're under the age of 12, there's a good chance that you know who Ryan is and you've wanted something as a result of seeing him play with it on his channel, right? So when you think about having 24.7 million subscribers, who here would consider themselves an influencer, right? Anybody? Yeah? Oh, okay, a couple people brave enough. I look at that, I'm like, wow, I'm nowhere near. I wish I could be an influencer, but I could care less about social media enough to want to talk to an audience virtually. I'd much rather do it in person. But my goal this morning is to kind of burst this influencer bubble that we might be living in, to say that you are, in fact, created to be an influencer. That's your calling. That's the way that God created you and made you, is to be an influencer, no matter your personality type. It doesn't matter if you consider yourself an outgoing person or you're an introvert. We were created to be influencers in life. So forward point, I have this question for you. Are you in? It's kind of been the question that we've been wrestling with every week is are you in? And each week we've looked at these different I-N words to talk about, are we in? If you were here the first week, we talked about this idea that you are invited. I'm invited into this relationship with Jesus, that Jesus comes onto the scene as this person here in humanity who invites the people that all the other people rejected. Right, if you were someone that you were looked down upon, or you were despised because of the way that you looked or the way that you smelt or because of your gender, then Jesus would be the person to come and invite you into relationship with. And then last week we looked at this idea that you are invaluable to God. Not just because of who you are as his creation, but also because of the purpose that he created you for. You have a gift, a talent, something that God created you with, maybe many things, but at least one thing that God created you with to be a blessing to this earth. And that Jesus would care so much about the one sheep, the one lost sheep, that he would leave the 99 that are okay and have got their acts together to go find you if you're that one sheep who finds yourself away from the group. That's how much value that you and I have to him, that he would be willing to forsake it all to leave. You're invaluable. You're invited. And today we're going to talk about this idea that you are influential. You and I were created to be influential. And here's the truth that we're going to kind of unpack today. If you're taking notes, I encourage you to write this down. It's this idea that you have no idea how one conversation one word of encouragement or one expression of love might change someone else's life. Because when you look around, culture has kind of hijacked this idea of being an influencer, right? Because we tend to think, right, an influencer is this individual who has this power to affect large amounts of people and their buying habits based on this relationship, right? Their position of authority or their position of knowledge in this area. But it used to be, I know for me, before the internet came out, that it was my teacher was an influencer. My basketball coach was an influencer in my life. My youth group leader growing up was an influencer in my life. It was people and the amount of time and the things that they said and how they invested in my life that made them an influencer in my life. So today, we would probably say it's a celebrity of some kind, right? We would say it's the content creator. It's the people who have these large followings that are the influencers. But it's time to reclaim this idea of being an influencer, because you and I were created to be influencers in the world. You need to see yourself as an influencer because you have no idea the things that God can do through you, how one moment, one kind of act of love might change another person's life, the trajectory of what they're living for. And as a disciple of Jesus, he describes you and I this way. He says this about our role as influencers. He says, you are the salt of the earth. Right? What is the purpose of salt? Right? Salt it purifies things, it preserves things, it adds flavor to things, right? And some of you add a whole lot of flavor to the world. Let's be real, all right? But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? Is it no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot? We're called to be salty. Turn to someone in here and say, you salty. Go ahead, turn to someone, you salty. Yeah, you're called to be salt, but he doesn't end there. He goes on with this analogy. He says, you are the light of the world, right? A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. Turn to someone else and say, you lit, all right? Turn to someone else, you lit. We're called to be salty, and we're called to be lit, right? That is our role as followers of Jesus. Salt and light. It's amazing. Syracuse is what? The salt city, right? Here we are living out. Let's reclaim what it means to be an influencer in our culture. Because in today's world, being an influencer typically begins with having the right platform. Right? You can be an influencer if you've got 1 million or 24 million followers in your TikTok account because you're making goofy videos. But the size of your platform determines the scope of your influence, is what the world would say. It matters how many people are following you, and if you accrue the right amount, then you can be an influencer. But we all have people in our sphere of influence, right? Coworkers, family members that we come in contact with. And it's not the size of your platform, but it's the individuals who are around you that determine your influence. When I think about who influenced Forward Point, right? When you look around and see where we're at today and the places that we've gone and the things we've been able to do, it would be easy to think that it was just, the Skinner family and all the investments that they made or the time that we've been working together. But if you look back a little farther, you would realize there's a lot more that influenced what you see today and what we call Forward Point. You'd be right in those things because that's a big part of what happens now. But it would be a very incomplete story to just chalk up Forward Point to those few things. The reality is, many years ago when my wife and I moved back into Syracuse and we began to purchase a house, we'd been serving in ministry for years, and all of a sudden Stephen was asked to take over this ministry called Forward Point, and we watched this video that he made, and it was a video that was about real estate. It wasn't even about doing ministry, but that video influenced us to say, you know what, man, we want to be a part of what's going on in this ministry. If nothing else, it doesn't matter what you call it. We want to be around this guy because of his heart for the community. That influenced us to where we're at today. Would you say that's the only thing that influenced where we're at today? No, but it's a part of the story. You could go years back even further when my wife and I decided to leave Indiana, where we were at serving in a church. And I remember having breakfast with the senior pastor, kind of one of the last weeks we were there, and he sat down with me, and I remember him telling me, man, Jimmy, you would be great at, kind of a church startup or a plant and helping that grow and succeed. And I remember hearing those words and thinking, man, this guy has got no respect for my skills or ability to think I should be in a church plant. But here we are years later, having just been here 6 months ago. We always joke we're 6 months old. But that influenced me to where we're at today, part of the process. I think about the different people who I met in Bible school. When I was in Bible school and I was working as an assistant to the youth pastor at the main church that was there. And of all the different youth ministry majors there, he selected me to be his assistant. And when it came time to move on, I wanted to move and be in full-time ministry. So I heard about this church that had a position in Bradenton, Florida. And it just so happened the guy I worked for was the youth pastor at that church decades before I'd even pursued the position. When we had these relationships and it began to influence my life and where I'm at. I'd never meet my wife if I hadn't moved to Florida. We'd never be here. And that influenced me and who I became. There's all sorts of different moments, people that have influenced my life to bring us all to where we're at today. Without such, we probably wouldn't be here. I think about being a young high school kid and going up for prayer one day at church, and the pastor praying over me said, you know what, I want you to check out Elam as a school. And Elam was the farthest thing away from me. I hadn't even thought about it. I was planning on going into drama and all sorts of kind of creative arts in school. And then after that time, I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll check into it. And then a few weeks later, I'm enrolled and accepted into Elam. Right, again, just another part of this person playing his role to influence me. I never would have gone to Elam. I never would have gone to Florida. I never would have met my wife. And who knows how things might be different today if it weren't for his influence he had in my life. Or go back even farther. I think about the music festival ministry that my family would go to every year, Kingdom Bound at Darien Lake. And one year, this guy got up and spoke to thousands of people, but it didn't really matter that there were thousands of people there. I was there. He spoke right to my heart, and for the first time, I felt like, you know what? I need to have a relationship with Jesus on my own, of my own choice. And as a result of that influence he had, never met me, never doesn't know who I am, but because of the influence he had and being faithful on that stage and those words that he spoke, here we are today. You and I are created to have influence by just one moment, one decision, one act of love, the influence that it can have on someone's life. And the reality is, influence is not always obvious, right? It's not always instant, like you're going to make a decision and automatically the results come right away. But just because you don't see a harvest, a result of your action, doesn't mean that seed that you planted, it didn't take root. And that's what we're going to look at today, because you have no idea how just that one conversation, how that one word of encouragement, or that one expression of love of just being God's hands and feet to your coworker and bringing a coffee might change someone's life. So if you have your Bibles with you, I encourage you to turn to John chapter 4 is where we're going to be hanging out. Or you can follow along in the YouVersion app if you have your phone. There's the Bible app, or the verses will be on the screen there. But John 4 kind of is this story where we meet one of the most unlikeliest of influencers. A little background into the story is Jesus was on a trip, and he finds himself in Samaria. Now, the big thing about Samaria is Samaria was full of Samaritans, right? Go figure. But Samaritans were these people who were half Gentiles and half Jews. Okay, so they're kind of this mixed breed of that the Jewish people did not like. In fact, if the shortest distance to get someplace was to go through Samaria, then they would choose to not go through Samaria, more often would walk around making their journey all that much longer because they didn't want to have contact with Samaritans. If you're familiar with the Good Samaritan story, right? That's what it's all about, is these different people see a Samaritan and they refuse to help him because of who he is. So Jesus finds himself with the disciples in Samaria, and he's resting from this journey, and he's at this well, and he sends all the disciples off to find lunch, and it's the hottest part of the day, and in walks this Samaritan woman. And the Samaritan woman is there getting water at the hottest part of the day because of her lifestyle, we're going to find out, and she wanted to go at a time when no one else would be there, because she didn't want to deal with the snickering comments and the looks, the judgment that she would receive even from her own people. So here's this encounter that we see between Jesus and the Samaritan woman. And Jesus does some awesome things. He dignifies this woman by initiating this conversation with her. In that culture, it was, very unlikely for a Jewish male to even talk to a woman, much less a Samaritan woman. And as a result of kind of this initiation of this conversation, he catches her off guard. So the woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. She said to Jesus, "You are a Jew, and I'm a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink? Like this doesn't happen. Why are you doing this?" So the story goes on. Jesus replied, "If you only knew," like he can almost just sense the love that Jesus is having, that he has for this woman. It doesn't matter her nationality, but her just being his creation, expressing, saying, "Hey, you're invited, right? You're invaluable. If you only knew the gift that God has for you and who you are speaking to, then you would be asking me, and I would give you living water." And the woman kind of takes his statement very practical, right? Jesus is speaking spiritually and saying, man, if you knew what I could do in your life, if you just trusted it over to me, if you knew. But she takes it very practical, and she looks around and she says, how is this going to happen? How are you going to give me water? Because you're standing here and your disciples have left, and then you don't have a bucket. You don't have, a rope to put it down into the well. How are you going to give me anything? And she begins to say, do you really think that you're better than the people who built this well, that you're more important to them? And as a result, Jesus responds. Jesus replied, he says, anyone who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again, right? That makes sense. But he begins to rock the boat here. He says, but those who drink the water that I give will never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life. And Jesus begins to kind of plant a taste into her life about what a relationship with him is like. And you begin to think, and she's beginning to think, wow, that is so much different than my current reality. When I think about my life and having to be in here during the hottest part of the day because of my lifestyle, everyone judges me and looks at me weird and snickers and talks about me. Man, I want some of that, a bubbling spring within me. That sounds pretty inviting. So Jesus says, in her response, I want some of that. He says, go and get your husband, Jesus told her. And she says, I don't have a husband. The woman replied, and Jesus said, you're right. You don't have a husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and you aren't even married to the man that you're living with now. Even in our kind of culture, 5 husbands is a little scandalous, right? We've gotten 1 to 2, maybe 3, but 5 even today. That's whew. You keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. What is that? The definition of insanity, right? We got to change something. You certainly spoke the truth, sir. The woman said, you must be a prophet. And she recognizes, man, Jesus, this guy knows some things about me that a lot of my closest friends probably didn't even know, but let alone a stranger. And what Jesus is going through this progression of, saying, you're invited into something bigger than what you're currently experiencing. No matter what people say about you, no matter what culture says about you, you're invaluable. And she's going to turn into an influencer, all this stuff that she has working against her and that Jesus sees as an opportunity for a miracle waiting to happen. Right? In life, we think of all these things that we got going against us and use them as reasons or excuses to count ourselves out. And Jesus is thinking, man, this is just the perfect recipe for a miracle to happen. So she changes the subject, and she starts to get all kind of technical. And Jesus says, I'm the Messiah. And the story continues. Just then the disciples came back. They were shocked to find him talking to a woman again. Not even that it's a Samaritan woman, but just a woman in general, right? But none of them had the nerve to ask, and this is kind of what they're thinking. What do you want with her? Or why are you talking to her? This is kind of the nature of the place that women had in that culture. And Jesus is breaking the mold. The woman left her water jar beside the well and ran back to the village. The encounter that she had with Jesus brought her to this place. We've seen many times in different stories of just leaving everything that you have that's important to you, the very purpose that you were on, the mission that you're on to get the water, totally forgot about it. She left the jar, ran back to the village, telling everyone to come and see a man who told me everything I ever did. Could he possibly be the Messiah? Could you just come check out and see? Because I know what he's doing in my life, and you should come and check to see if this is legit or not, because everything that I'm seeing, everything adds up to this is the real deal. And as a result of her message, so the people came streaming. This isn't like they were all live on their Facebook streaming, okay? There's just a lot of people coming in all at once. The people came streaming from the village to see him. Right? No matter how messed up your life is, you're never too gone for Jesus. We see this outcast, right? This rejected, this shunned person go to influencer. Not because of her platform, not because the people enjoyed her friendship. In fact, she was probably someone who everyone said, hide your kids, hide your wives, hide your husbands, right? As a result of her lifestyle. It wasn't her platform or the amount of followers that she had, but it was this love that she experienced in that moment, in that conversation, that she couldn't help but translate that into love for other people, for anybody who would listen. Come and see. I know what he's done for me. Just come and see. And here's the truth this morning is you don't have to have your life all together to influence someone for Jesus. You don't. The reality is we're all influencing people in one way or another, whether or not you have your life together or not. You don't need a seminary degree. You don't need to be able to offer these eloquent prayers with all sorts of these and thous and, like your poetry in motion as you're praying. You don't have to know where all the verses are in the Bible, right, to be able to influence someone for Jesus. You just have to love him. You just need to be loved by Jesus and then to love like Jesus. Then you start being a little salty. Then you're starting to get lit. You don't need the 4,000 followers to achieve your platform. You don't need to have the list of subscribers get longer and longer. All you need is just to care for that one person in your area of influence, that one person who's right in front of you, and you've become an influencer. You're following your calling. Anything that we do, a lot of times we talk about sharing, just you sit down at church on Sunday morning, just open up your social media and share that you're at Forward Point, or maybe share the live stream. And just recently as a band, it was pretty cool. One of our band members, Andy, he shared about this cool experience. He usually shares the live stream. And afterwards, he got this response from someone who he hadn't really been in contact with, but years ago was friends. And he shared this text, and he says, "Hey, Andy, Hope the holidays were great for you. I'm reaching out because I'm curious about Forward Point. Haven't ever been a religious person, but at this point in my life, I think it's what I need. And watching you and everyone else play, sing, it really hit me. Wondering if you can fill me in on what it's involved in being part of the church. Sorry if this is weird. I don't really reach out to people like this. And as a result of that, the following week he was there and we got to talk to him afterwards and we celebrated as a band. Right, this one person that it started with an influence of Andy just sharing. Not any idea who would see it. And then he came and we all got to love on him. And I remember him telling me afterwards, yeah, you're going to start seeing a lot more of me. And the reality is we may never see him again. I don't know. But I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt is that we've influenced him by being the hands and feet and the love of Jesus in his life. And maybe we get to be part of the harvests of him coming into a relationship with Jesus. Or maybe someone else does. But I know for sure is that we played our part, and Andy played his part by just doing something simple that we talk about all the time. Just one act of love, one act of caring can influence. One conversation, one social media post, one expression of love might change someone's life forever. You have no idea the influence that you could have. Meanwhile, the disciples were urging Jesus, Rabbi, eat something, right? The disciples kind of walk on the scene licking their fingers. They're hungry for lunch, right? I relate to that because I feel like I'm always hungry. I don't know, I'd be the disciples here, right? Jesus, it's time to eat. But Jesus kind of responds, Jesus replied, I have a kind of food that you know nothing about, right? Little Jesus juke there, like, guys, there's more to life than just eating here. And the disciples began to think, did someone bring him food while we were gone? So the disciples asked each other. Then Jesus explained, my nourishment, right, the thing that drives me, what I'm here for, my purpose comes from doing the will of God who sent me and from finishing his work. All that other stuff it doesn't matter. He goes on, he says, the saying, 4 months between planting and harvest, but I say, wake up and look around. Look at your influence, disciples, the people you're walking by, these Samaritans that you hate so much. Look, the fields are already ripe for harvest. Their hearts are ready for the message that I'm here to bring. The harvesters are paid good wages, and the fruit they harvest is people brought to eternal life. What joy awaits. Man, if you've never had the opportunity to be a part of someone's life course changing as a result of you just being that one expression of love, then you haven't fully lived yet. There's nothing like being a part of life change in someone's story. What joy awaits both the planter and the harvester alike. Don't let culture rob you and your calling by using it, right, with this certain type of people. It doesn't start with the platform. It's always just the right person that's in front of you, not the people following you from behind, because you are an influencer. And watch what happens. The saying, one plants and another harvests, and it's true, right? I sent you to harvest where you didn't plant. Others had already done the work, and now you will get to gather the harvest. Many Samaritans from the village believed in Jesus because the woman had said, he told me everything I ever did. Many people believed. No one would expect the woman to be at the source of this revival that was happening in Samaria. But she became an influencer by just telling her story. And it didn't stop there. When they came out to see him, they begged him to stay in their village. So Jesus and the disciples, they stayed for 2 days, long enough for many more, even more, to hear his message and believe. Right, who did God use? He used a scandalous woman who was sleeping around, didn't have her act together. She was a regular, ordinary, sinful woman who had been transformed by meeting Jesus. We don't have to have our whole life together to be an influencer. We just have to be available. Because 4 Point, you're invited, you're invaluable, and you are an influencer. Will you pray with me this morning? God, we're so grateful for the work that you have done in all of our lives to bring us to this moment. When we think about all the other people who must have played a part in influencing to bring us to this moment. And this morning, there's probably all sorts of different stories represented in each one of us. Maybe for you, the fact that you're here, you were influenced to this moment where you might meet and hear about a Jesus who loves you and wants to have a relationship with you no matter what you do or don't do. That you realize this relationship with him and all the things that happen as an outpouring of that can change the course of your life and give you fulfillment. That everything else that's happened in your life has been to influence you to this moment to make a decision to say, I'm going to turn my life around towards the higher ways that he has for me. For you this morning, that may be your story. And this morning, a new life awaits for you. This morning, your story may be where you've been influenced to be here to a spot where you would hear that despite the things that you've wrestled with every day, the addictions or the bad choices that you've made, that it hasn't counted you out, but it's brought you to this place where you would hear the message that you were created for a purpose and you were created to influence by just being that one act of compassion, that one act of love. And you might go from here just telling everyone about, come and see this person who's done so much in my life. He could be the Messiah. I think he's the Messiah for me, but I encourage you, come check him out for yourself. And for you this morning, the call, the opportunity is to have been influenced in your identity. You are an influencer. If you're here this morning and this relationship with Jesus is a new thing, but inside you feel a stirring like this is something that you were created for, something that you need to investigate further, then I would encourage you in your heart as we're praying just to align your heart with him. There's no special words. There's no magic prayer that begins it. It's just a recognition in your spirit that says, God, I'm sorry for the way that I've been living that has been contrary to the way that you would want for me this morning. I'm making a intentional decision to turn away from the things that I've wanted for my life towards the higher things that you want for my life. And this morning, this new relationship with your Creator who made you for a purpose and made you on purpose can begin to grow and to build into something amazing. And if that's a decision that you made this morning, we're so grateful that is part of your story. If it's not and you're still checking Jesus out, then we're grateful that you're here because we believe that this is a place just to be loved no matter where you're at. For the rest of it this morning, I pray that we would all become people who would assume our role and our identity as influencers. God, help us to look around to the harvest, the people that you've brought into our life, and how we can just be one act of compassion, one act of love in their life. God, I pray you would help us as Forward Point to look around at our city, Eastwood and Syracuse, to say, how can we continue to be your one act of compassion, your one act of love that's going to stir the need and the desire for Jesus in their life, and they might come and see this man who knew everything about me. God, may we just be the very definition of Christianity, just one beggar telling another beggar where we got food. Help us to be that. God, we want to be all in. all in what you're doing in our lives and in the lives of the people around us. We love you. In your name we pray. Amen. Forward Point, we love you. If there's anything in your story that you're going through, we'd love to be a part of it, to pray with you. If you want to share, there'll be the people of our prayer team up here available. I'll be up here to hear and to pray for you. We got time and space out there, some snacks and some drinks to love on each other and be influencers of love here. Practice on each other, and then go and be influencers this week. I encourage you to get into a life group. If you need more information, check out the welcome table there. Ask us, and we'd love to get you connected that way, okay? Have a great week. We'll see you back as we wrap up next week.